Unheard Melodies. In the senior year of high school, my son visited various colleges hidden away in small academic towns to see which one he might want to attend. These rituals are familiar to both parents and their college-aged children, and bittersweet for everyone involved. All such scrutiny is a long prelude to a permanent parting. The pain can be reduced, however, by the college's willingness to allow idle parents and their actions children to drop in classes in progress. The parents may know nothing of the subject matter of hand, but out of a kind of institutional pity are permitted to sit in the broken plastic chairs in the back row and listen. One autumn afternoon, therefore, I found myself in a sunny philosophy seminar room in a cozy Midwestern college. My son was in another classroom, where the philosopher whose work was being studied happened to be Søren Kierkegaard. On that day the text at hand, "Philosophical Fragments", was under discussion, and the topic of the day was the problem of how to think about the unknowable. To think about the unknowable. At first this seems to well absurd, but it isn't, or isn't quite. The students, raffish, extremely bright, beautiful, brashly argumentative, and eccentric, leaned back in their similarly broken chairs, blew their noses, ruffed their long hair, and made brilliant observations about Kierkegaard's gnomic and anguished propositions. For me the subject had a kind of gigantic significance. Everybody, I thought, should be pondering this issue. How how do we think about the unknowable? Can we think about it at all? At all? Is it merely foolishness to try? Does it make any sense to reason from what we do know to what we don't know? The question has an excellent pedigree and is of those adhesive pieces of philosophical flypaper to which many generations of thinkers get stuck. In any case, although I sat in that seminar room for a mere hour, and have since gone back to Kierkegaard, I still am not certain of his reasoning or his procedures, his arguments based on his reasoning from. But the problem of unknowable leads, at least for me, to an adjacent related problem, very much of our time and moment, a problem of great social importance, the problem, that is, of how to think about the unheard. In this I am not referring to overtones, or the half-suggested or the implied, nor am I speaking about God's speech to mortals, which, as Kierkegaard might say, we may choose not to hear. We are no longer in the territory, if we ever were, of John Keats' Grecian urn. Heard melodies are sweet, but those unheard are sweeter. Well, sure, of course, but no. In our time, the unheard is unsweet. It is a form of blockage, distraction, drainage, noise control, private censoring, survivability, drugs, egomania, vacuousness, and sheer impatience. The result of too muchness of contemporary life sample. I don't have the time to listen to you, even if you're standing in front of me. Right now, this very moment, talking, you can scream and I will, like you, not hear you. My ears are sealed. Test question. When was the last time you were on an airplane and actually listened to the flight attendant as he instructed you in how to snap and then how to unsnap the seatbelt buckle? Second test question. Why has the word "the", employed ironically, reappeared in common usage? The survivor of ordinary or American daily life has to develop good filtering mechanisms simply to get from one day to another. Keeping the toxic levels of daily sense information at a minimum is no easy task, unless you are, say, Amish or have thrown away your TV set and your computer and don't get out often. Effectively filtering is particularly difficult for anyone who lives in a major metropolis. Filtering may not be an uniquely modern phenomenon, but the sheer quantity of information and its hyper-aggressive marketing, elevating the non-essential into the critical, exemplified by the Fox News alert, may be unique to our time. When I imagine my grandfather sitting in an airport terminal waiting area underneath a television set broadcasting the airport channel, I imagine him losing his mind, the way a lakeshore is lost through erosion. I cannot imagine this same grandfather, he died in 1921 in superhighway traffic, and not also giving in to a panic attack. A form of madness, now being terrorized by social psychologists, results from a crucial failure to block out sensory noise to a sustainable level. Overstimulation seems a syndrome shared by children and oldsters. Such types don't know how to keep the hub away at a safe distance, and often their reaction to it is to scream. Many commentaries have argued that attention deficit disorder is a byproduct of the too muchness of modern life. Its victims walk over the coals of contemporary stimulus, and for some reason their feet get burned. The word distraction has some etymological relation to madness, but distraction, the mental state in which information cannot be separated from noise, is hardly the same mechanism as psychic deafness and referential denial. Deafness and denial manifest themselves many can stand to absorb what being said. Narcissism and egomania and psychic vulnerability are the three great pillars of the tower of voluntary deafness. They are the silent markers of subtext in all dialogue. Contemporary dialogue is marked by all three of them, and they are the signs in good writing of what Gertrude Stein once called the excitement of our contemporariness. If you are a good writer these days, you pay attention to the way that people don't pay attention. A woman once said to me, "I'm not listening to you. I just turned off my hearing aids." Had no hearing aids and was using a current expression of that particular year. The following year the new expression was "talk to the hand." But even here, but even here, the energy of denial has to be separated from the cooler, glossier shield that narcissism erects to guard against the pain of others. These days, the best and most artful dialogue is marked by the inattentiveness of its characters.